Hello and welcome to a video for Mr. Rasmus's World Religions class. Today I will be taking you through everything you need to know about Jainism. Jainism has no definitive leader. Actually, it has 20 Kirantaras, teachers who have reached the highest goal of existence. The most recent Tirankara is considered the founder by some outside sources. Mahavira was born as a Vartaman, a prince. He lived from 599 to 527 BC. At age 28, he left his family to escape from the burdensome cycle of reincarnation. He wandered for over 12 years, and at age 40 reached complete enlightenment, known as Kavala or knowledge. After that, he was devoted to organizing a community of those who believed his teachings and doctrine. Jainism is a break-off of Hinduism, and thus is very similar to it. Jainism began as a reform, but soon became independent and based on Miravanararya's teachings. Jainism has a relatively small following, but has a big influence. Mahavira called his followers the Sangha, or however you pronounce that, which accepted both men, women, followers, and monks. It was like one big caste. It spread quickly because of the dedicated work from the Sangha. In the 4th century BC, a split occurred, dividing Jains into two sects, the Svatambara and the Digambaras. There are about 6 million Jains today. There are 9 fundamental philosophies with which Jains strive to reach the goodness and avoid the badness. They are Jiva, Anjiva, Panya, Pap, Asrava, Samvar, Band, Nijara, and Maska. Jains also adhere to the great vows of Madhavaratas, which would be non-violence, no lying, no stealing, non-attachment to possessions, and sexual restraint. Every Jain strives to follow the first 3, monks all 5, which would be the monks would go the extra mile with non-attachment to possessions and sexual restraint. Like Hinduism, Jainism is centered around an eternal universe. The universe contains 3 realms: the heavens, the earthly realms, and the hells. There are 7 levels of heaven, the highest being reserved for liberated souls, 7 earthly regions, and 8 levels of hell. Ironically, the levels of hell get colder as they go down. In regards to gods and deities, there are multiple deities who dwell in the different levels of heaven, and the deities are greater or lower in strength, I guess, power, depending on the level of heaven. The idea of the Jiva is another fundamental idea to Jainism. It's the belief, similar to Hinduism, that everything has a soul, and non-violence applies to them all. Hurting another creature's soul is bad karma. A soul is attached to the body in the earth realm, which is just merely a vessel or a house for the soul. Kind of like Christianity, I guess. Similar to Hinduism, again, there is the concept of karma, namely Gati and Agati, not to be confused with spaghetti. Gandhi, or Gati I mean, affects the soul. Agati affects the body. Liberation is achieved when you shed yourself of all karma. Liberation being freeing yourself from the circle of reincarnation. Aside from practices, which would be worshipping in temples and just being a good person and practicing the different roles that you would need to fulfill to shed yourself of karma and free yourself, there are sacred texts, many known as the Agama. In regards to the patterns of religions, Jainism would be a sacramental religion with beliefs centered on following all rules and vows in order to become a liberated being and achieve the highest goal or stuff. With the nature of the universe, Jains believe that it is eternal and that the world will not end, and there was no creator in the beginning. There was no single deity that created the world. A big fundamental is that everything has a soul, similar to Hinduism. Jains respect nature because everything has a soul. The purpose of life in Jainism, or the human purpose, would be to become a liberated being and to shed yourself of karma. If you compared Jainism and Christianity, you would see that Jainism and Christianity both have a sense of salvation, though we seek them in different ways. Christianity, we seek salvation through Christ; Jainism, through liberation from karma. Both also have an idea of heaven and hell, but the ideas are very different. In Jainism, there's multiple levels, and another huge difference, probably one of the biggest, would be that Jainism is polytheistic. It has many deities, and they live in heaven, and there's different levels of deities. Whereas in Christianity, there's one God, but there's the whole Trinity thing going on, which, yeah.